everyone, and welcome to our first ever in-studio podcast. My name is Kelechi Ochatu, author and host of Faith and Purpose Podcast. I have two amazing guests with me today. You guys are in for so much fun. Yes. So to my left, I have superstar, award-winning singer, songwriter, child of God. You've heard his songs, Hosanna, Imela. I have Jumbo Ane in the house.
Thank you. I like the word child of God.
Child of God.
I like that one.
Wonderful. And to my right, I have child of God, daughter of Zion. I'm going to let her introduce her name because it's such an amazing name.
So my full name
your full name.
Diana Kelechi Olocha Constantina Abraham.
Wow.
So I'm Igbo and Greek.
Yes, and she's also a podcaster. Yes. At the end of the session, we'll put in her podcast details. We'll put in Jumbo's details. But we're in just to have a conversation, a heart-to-heart talk. That's what I told them, about some things that, we don't really talk about. Mm-hmm. We're talking about habits, habit formation. How do we build on good habits and break bad habits? So today's topic is breaking bad habits. This is very near and dear to me, very personal. So I wanted to just have some of us shed light on this issue. So let's just jump right in. But before we start, one fun fact about you, Minister Jumbo.
I love my wife. I love soccer.
Oh, shit.
I love it. I hope one of you is listening. That's his fun fact.
He's going to get some extra points today. And you, Kelechi, one fun fact.
So my fun fact is I was born in Athens, Greece.
Beautiful. Oh, very nice.
Huh?
How's that fun?
Because that's not a lot of different. Nigerian people are born in Greece.
It's different. Are you born in Greece?
No.
Okay, so then thank you so much. Exactly. So it's fun to you. Jumbo, I'm not fighting you today.
That's fun. What's my fun fact? I use this fun fact alone a lot, even though I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I play acoustic guitar, and the last time I played was long time ago.
Oh,
so maybe Minister Jumbo. Someone else needs to teach me how to play.
How's that fun, though?
Because not a lot of people. It's fun because it's in me.
Did we question this?
It's in me, so I need to bring it out.
Yes.
In the near future.
Come out.
Amen. But guys, let's get into the topic of the day. We always hear the phrase bad habits die hard, right? And I know personally because I'm guilty. My financial habits, God has been helping me. For the last 10 years, I've been on a journey, right? Yeah. But really, we want to talk about how are these habits even formed in the first place. So my first question, I'm going to pose it to Mr. Jumbo. How do people form habits? She and I were talking before we got on set about nature versus nurture. Are these habits like just you're built with some of these things? I know my dad's a spender, so I think I got some of those genes. Or the people you surround yourself with, the environment kind of impacts the way we act and the habits we form.
Am I allowed to go scriptural?
Of course. This is Faith and Purpose Podcast. You can go scriptural.
So the Bible says that we were born in sin, right? Meaning we were born with some natural habits. Yeah. Habits of the flesh. Yeah. You never have to teach a child how to lie. You never have to teach anyone how to just do evil. Yeah. It says where man is desperately evil. So naturally, we were born with habits. So whether it's your environment, whether it's just your thoughts or the things we watch, there are things that we just want to do because we just want to do them.
That's like human nature.
And because that's our nature. Our nature was bad. Yeah. So we came with a bad nature. Yeah. And then when you give your life to Christ, that's the beginning of learning new habits. It says you renewing of our minds. Yeah. So then we start that journey of trying to renew our minds so that we can start acting well. So, but that's how you don't have to do anything to just have bad habits. It's just natural. I love to. Who don't want to be eating jollof rice at night?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. I don't need to be taught. Eating is sweet. Exactly. So that's how. For sure.
So you're the same school of thought that it's a nature versus nurture. Some of it is innate, like you said, in sin. Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about environment. Okay. How does environment play a role in shaping our habits?
I think it plays a huge role.
Okay.
I think most definitely I agree that we are born into sin, so we are born into certain habits, right? And I think also that's where the genetics can come into play. But I also think that we as humans, we receive messages on a daily basis.
Yes.
From day one, we receive messages from different forms too. We receive messages by our parents. We receive messages, indirect and direct messages, by the things that we see and observe people do, by the people that we associate ourselves around, by the things that we watch, the messages that we receive messages, positive, negative, all around us.
It's like bombarded.
It's bombarded with us, right? And at some point, right, we have to make a choice as to what messages we're going to receive. We can regulate our messages at some point, right? And I think that when we fall into bad habits, I think it's just an overabundance of a specific type of message that you've received, and internally, subconsciously, you have then created a decision and a conclusion about that thing, and that's how I think that's what creates the habit.
Wow,
I have a question.
That. Yes.
So why did you change your accent?
She's an American of Greece, an American now.
What is this?
Like when we're talking, you sounded like
seriously.
I don't know.
She was in the zone. I love.
So I like what she said. I like what she said.
When I think about it, right, that's just like it's what comes to. I don't believe.
No, but I like what you said.
Leave me alone.
It reminds me of this computer world where it says, is it something in, out?
Garbage in, garbage out. Yes.
So basically, naturally, you start to give out what you've
put in. That's
so
deep.
That's habit. Like you consume what you consume. It's what you like. They said, the Yoruba people said,
okay, now.
Meaning, whatever the bird consumes, that's what it flies with.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's habit, like whatever you expose yourself to, the information you expose yourself to.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
That is so powerful because I was watching something recently by Pastor Stephanie Gates. She talked about the ear gates and the eye gates. So whatever you're constantly feeding, that's why the Bible said, let the words of Christ dwell richly in you, because it's what, like Jumbo said, that's what will come out. But if I'm Netflixing and chilling and I'm watching some things on Netflix, y'all know, you guys know Netflix. And like if you watch some certain kind of things, they will just keep, suggesting more and more. That stuff fills your heart. So that's amazing.
But even I think also it's the things that we also see growing up, right? The things that maybe, let's say there's a person that I could be 7 years old, right? And there's a person that I trust, right? And the things that I see that they do, right? I may want to emulate that. Or I may even see it and may not like it initially, but something in me has now taken that message as something. And then it may manifest itself 7 years later, right? Wow. Or 14 years, whatever the case may be. I think that there are just so many messages that people are taking in.
You touched up on something amazing, and I want to build on that because they say children don't do what you say. You tell children, do what I say, but they do what they see you doing, right?
Of course.
So that's when you talk about emulating. Even for me, I'm raising young boys. I'm constantly reminding my husband. They're seeing, even when we're in the home, if we argue, then we're modeling for them in the marriage that this is acceptable.
Beautiful.
If you yell at your wife, if you're a man that yells at your wife, then you're teaching boys to, lord it over their wives. If they see you being kind, they see you washing the dishes, if they see you helping out your wife to cook. I know Jumbo from time to time, he'll be in the kitchen cooking, helping out his wife, things like that. That's what is being modeled.
Yeah.
So now with that mindset, even in my home, we try to model that good behavior to the kids.
Please, just in case my wife is watching. She's been telling me to cook more.
Yes.
I think I've only done it once a year.
I don't think it's once. It's on your Instagram. It looks like more than once.
Yes. Yeah.
No, but modeling is very, very, very important. I used to be an educator.
Nice.
And I had to be very conscious of every step that I made because I know that there are young girls in this classroom that are watching, you know what I mean? And they're picking up on every action, mistake or non-mistake, right? They're picking up on those things.
Yeah.
And those messages are being internalized. And from there, a habit can be formed.
Yes.
I went to I think it's Houston or Dallas, maybe 2 years ago, a year ago. And so I was, after when I was done ministering, I know this lady brought her son to me and he said, man, you have to take a picture with him. And then she said, man, like he knows everything. And the guy said, this young boy, like I think he was 7 or 9, he knows everything about me. I said, wow, you know everything about me?
Yeah.
He said, yes. he knows all my album, the songs.
Yeah.
He says, I know that you wash dishes at home.
Oh.
That one just stood out
to me.
Yeah.
I said, why? I now realized that, all of those videos that I post, people are watching. So at one point, I think I was a case study for him as a project in school. So probably he did those research.
That is sweet.
Yeah, and so, but when he said that, I now realized, some of, well, not superstars, some of us.
You superstar, say it.
Some of us sometimes we have influence on people, so we should not take it for granted. The same way, if I was always smoking or doing all kinds of things,
that's the image.
That's the same way. That's the image that this people see. So modeling the life that we want to see in the young generation or in the old generation is very, very, very key.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I think I always ask myself whenever I see like issues, like grown people having issues or couples having issues, women, men, whatever the case may be in relationships, the first question I ask myself is, what was their environment growing up? You know what I mean? Because more often than not, their life is a reflection of what they saw, and those messages became the norm.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
messaging, modeling, very, very important. And just to stay on that topic again, we're talking about millennials.
Yeah.
What we're seeing, the people who are influencing our millennials and our children and Gen Zs, they're, pop stars. And sometimes some of the things they're doing, the kids think it's cool. So but seeing somebody like a man who worships God, that's like cool. So as a guy, it's okay to lift up my hands. Yeah. As a woman, I don't have to have everything hanging out to be beautiful or sexy. Like we have to model a change in culture and create our own kind of culture. All right. So let's pivot a little bit. So we're going to talk about an area that I think I will need to do Financial Peace University, but that's story for another day. We're going to talk about financial habits, right? Yeah. So we have people who are natural spenders. I know when I was in college, funny story, because I like to be transparent. I met my husband and he was like, oh yeah, you've been working for 2 years. I was like, yeah, that's good. So how much have you saved, in case we want to get married towards the wedding? I'm like, I don't save. He's like, hey, come again? I'm like, I don't have a savings, or maybe I'd save like just $1,000, like in my whole entire adulthood. He's like, what happens to all the? I know you're an accountant, and I know that you work. I'm like, oh, I love to spend. So like that was an aha moment for me to say. So I spent so much that in 2 years as a professional, I had only saved $1,000 in my account. And there I started that journey after we got married of starting to have a savings culture to say, if you get the same way we tithe. I take 10%. I have to take out a portion and put for rainy day funds. But so let's talk about financial habits. Yeah. How do people also form these financial habits? Do you think there's pressure from society to always want to look a certain way, and so you find yourself spending above and beyond? Or some of it is just like, like I just want to splurge.
Yeah.
I'll go with you first because you're a lady.
Yeah, I definitely
and you feel my pain.
I feel it because I also have been through and go through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of the constant pressure to look a certain way, have a certain thing, be a certain type of person or whatever the case may be. So definitely I think like from that, like an overspending, overabundance in spending happens, but I think that like, I don't know if we can move on to breaking, right? Yeah. One thing that I've definitely tried to implement is writing things down. My life moves way too fast, and I often just like think about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do it later. Yeah. I'm sometimes a queen of procrastination. So writing down like a monthly budget, actually writing out what is my income, then what am I want to actually spend on, what are the things that I need, and that has helped a ton. And also creating sustainable goals, right? I can't create a goal that's unrealistic in terms of finances. I won't actually live a life of a millionaire. Yeah. I'm not a millionaire. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Yes. My rent should not be more than one paycheck. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I know that
those sensible,
you have to be sensible, and it actually has to make sense. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. Like sometimes when people are in the thick of financial strife, they often feel like they can't see their way out of it, right? But I think creating measurable, small, and sustainable steps can be the thing to help you get out of that.
Love it. Any inputs on that? Yeah.
Give us the spiritual. Give us
So
divine.
this is a topic that I'm going now. They say you're going through and then you're coming from.
Yes.
Also because I'm a man with so many projects.
Yes.
In fact, my wife calls me Mr. Project because as soon as I'm done with one, and it's not
next one, right?
and it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's a huge. So as soon as I'm done with one, I'm going into the next one. But then again, at the end of the day, you want to ask yourself that why? Because one of the things that put people under too much pressure is pressure of trying to be what they are really not. So you're driving a car that you cannot afford.
Yes, preach.
You're living in a house that you really cannot afford.
Yeah.
And then at the end of I spoke to a friend.
Yeah.
A few years ago. I know he was having, because he was part, I mean, we sing, you come, sometimes you send me, I can't make rehearsals. And I knew you had like 3-4 jobs. So he barely sleeps. He's always on the go. And then I'm looking at him, he has a huge house. Just 2 people living in that house.
Wow.
Has a huge car. Probably paying maybe in the 2000s. Car notes.
Yeah.
Another 4,000. Yes. And then he has barely no time. And I said to him that, I think you will die young.
God forbid. Why would you say that so much?
It's just the fact.
Yeah.
Remember, we always over spiritualize these things. You don't have sleep. You can't rest. And you are working so much, trying to maintain a life, trying to prove
to people what are
that
you trying to prove? Don't matter.
People that don't really care.
Yeah, don't care.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
at the end of the day,
don't care.
Yeah.
You're doing yourself, you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And then, so why don't you just live
within your means?
They said, cut your coat according to your
size.
No, cloth.
That's a deeper one. So
Not
because you don't have enough clothes.
If you have a little and then you cannot afford to do a blouse and skirt.
Just do cap.
You can do only cap if that's all you can. And so sometimes in the quest to just try to impress people, we take on too much. And then there's no space for savings because I mean, if your bill is maybe in the 7,000 every month, and then you're making maybe 7,200, you're still going to eat, buy gas.
Yes.
So there's no way you can advise that person to save. Rather than, hey, live your life
according to your clothes. That's a phrase we're going to take on. Cut your coats according to your clothes. No, that's beautiful.
I'm just sitting here. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, where did we learn to continuously compare ourselves to the next person and want to be
Hollywood and the gram?
Sure.
That's why sometimes when I see, because social media has its benefits, because you're listening to us right now with social media. Church too. There's even pressure in the church.
I'll give you a different perspective. You know, sometimes testimonies are good. Bible says that, I mean, by the words of our testimonies that we overcome. So sometimes what we hear from the pulpit is, God is going to do it. God is going to do it. And then somebody comes, gives a testimony that, man, help me thank God because I just bought a new house, I bought a new car. And then almost every Sunday, that seems to be like the popular testimony. That puts other people under pressure. So that when they come, I mean, they feel like, am I under a curse? Why can't this be me? Why can't this be me? And so somebody that is going through, there are many seasons in life. So there's a rainy season, there's a dry season. So you may be in your rainy season. I may be going through my dry season. And all of these seasons work together for good.
Preach,
for those, So I am in my dry season. But because of the testimonies of those in rainy seasons, I mean, I'm like, man, and then maybe God just gives me a little money. Before I know it, I want to testify. I can't come and testify without a big car and a big house. So I am under such pressure to impress people rather than just going, on my own speed.
Absolutely.
Wow. You guys are amazing. I feel like going on and on, but I'm also cognizant that you guys are busy people. So you already touched upon it. What is one advice you give someone who may be struggling financially or with a habit, say even a health habit, they just want to get in shape. You gave your testimony about, what drew you and made you to start working out more, like what can you tell them? Just a word of encouragement to say, you're not alone, first of all. Most of us, he talked about seasons. Or how do I start to pick up the pieces of my life so I can make better choices and build better habits?
Okay, so I have a few things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I will say is, first and foremost, I think it's important to understand who you are, right? Because without that foundation, it's very easy to be swayed in one direction or the next.
Yeah.
So I think understanding who you are in Christ is very, very important. I almost ask myself that on a daily basis, and I always have to go back to the word to remind myself exactly who I am.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not swayed in one direction or the other. So I'm a strong-willed individual. But I also think, like I said earlier, it's important to create goals, small goals that you can actually reach, right? One of the things, I'm actually going to be very vulnerable in this moment, that I struggle with is my body image. Because the messages I've received of what a perfect body actually looks like.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So one, understanding who I am, I have to learn to love myself as I am, right?
Exactly.
But at the same token, I want to be a healthy person.
Yeah.
I want to live long.
Yeah.
Right? So when I try to get back into the gym, I can't go there and do 2 hours like I used to be an athlete as well, right?
Wow.
So I can't go back in there and do 2 hours like I used to and like just bust it out in the gym.
Yeah.
That's not reasonable in this in this moment, right?
Exactly.
So just creating a small goal that, okay, you know what? For 30 days, I'm going to go for at least 30 minutes. At the very least, 30 minutes, even 15 minutes, just to go there and build the habit of getting there. I think they say it takes 21 days.
Yeah, 21 days.
Right? To build a
habit.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think, but that's a very small goal that I can then build upon once that habit is formed.
Yeah.
So I say, one, know who you are, know yourself, get to know yourself, right? Build small and attainable goals. And then also, to be honest with you, Google is free. Especially with financial habits. Sometimes
you just
we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I know of a lot of people, especially in the Black community in America, there's a lot of financial illiteracy, right? Because a lot of people were not raised to have that understanding. That's okay. Google is free.
Yeah.
So you can always Google. I learned a lot of financial things on TikTok. I did. You know what I mean? So social media you can use to your benefit. The internet you can use to your benefit. So most definitely I don't have any books or anything, but I use Google a lot.
No, that's
Google
very
everything.
Practical.
Yes.
Very practical.
So those are my
Thank
steps.
you for those tips. Yes, tips, man of God.
So I mean, they always say that if you don't know the purpose of a thing,
abuse is inevitable.
Yes.
Yeah. So first and foremost, your body, your financial goals. If you don't have a purpose for it, you would abuse it. Even with prayer life, even with anything in life. David, for instance, like you said, David forgot that he was a king for a second. And you were talking about Netflix the other time.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend who said, Bible says while men were at war, David, he was watching Netflix.
And that's a good one.
He was watching a woman who was bathing, which was a type of our Netflix.
Yeah.
So, and then now, that was, even if that is not bad or whatever, that was a distraction, and that formed something in his mind.
Yeah.
He had an image. So this is what not knowing who you are can do. It gives you an image of what is not you. And then look at what David did from just that Netflix experience. Killed. So there are so many people that are it's casual, how habits,
it's just a show, it's just
the show until it actually creates.
But you don't know what,
you
don't know the damage that, you don't know how deep and how far that damage can go. Yeah, so I would say first and foremost, like you said, know who you are.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to be doing and why are you doing it.
Yes.
Like I want to be able to dance with my daughter.
Yeah.
So I need to take care of this body.
Yes.
Because God has given me all God has given to me is this. He's not gonna come tell me how to keep it. Or what to do with it. But he's gonna advise me. But then again, I said before you light and day, so you give you advice, do this. So every day you start by, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to not do, because I want to achieve this goal. So definitely set goals that you can attain and understand the reason that the same, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, whatever, if you jump,
gravity will bring you down.
And that applies to everyone.
Yes.
So the principle of finance, the principle of health, of anything applies to everyone. So there is no spirituality in that.
Wow.
So follow the same principles.
And forgive yourself and give yourself grace if you mess up. I beat myself up. So I am there's nothing that anyone...
You will.
You will, actually. Thank you. You will. Like, I am my toughest critic. I'm just learning now at 29 years old how to forgive myself and give myself grace. You know what I mean? So I think it's okay to, you will mess up. Just get right back on that train and keep it moving.
Wow. So beautiful. Guys, we could go on. And guys, this is the beginning of a series because we're only able to touch on 2 habits. There are more habits. We have to talk about addictions. We're going to talk about sexual habits and other series to come. But I just want to say a big thank you to my guest today, Minister Jumbo, Kelechi. Thanks for you. So before we wrap up, please, how can people follow you, engage with you, and stay in contact with you? I'll start with you ladies first.
Yes. So I actually, like you said, I have a podcast as well. It's a different type of podcast. If you are into reality shows and things like that, we chat about the behaviors that we see and like their impacts on society. So it's at Reality, TEA, at Reality Check Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can email us as well. So if you're into that, then you can find us there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And you?
My name is Jumbo. so I'm into my songs are everywhere.
Yes.
YouTube. You can find me at JUMBOANE. Jumbo Annie.
On Instagram.
Facebook.
TikTok.
Am I on TikTok?
You are, because you just started following us.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm on so many other places that I don't know. But as long as you just type Jumbo ANE and you see my nice looking face, it's me. But I don't ask people for money though.
So if you see his music, it will bless you.
Everywhere. YouTube, all of that.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much again. God bless you and thank you for watching.
This is an habit that you need to keep.
Yes. You see, so he just told me there's a habit I need to keep up is having these open conversations.
because I mean you can sometimes you can predict people's future by the things they do daily. Like you can predict if someone is going to be successful or not successful. But there are habits that God has actually put in place that there's a way that seemed right to men, and at the end is destruction. So the Bible also says that I set before you this one and this one, and then he's not he didn't choose it for you. He said you follow. So whichever one you follow leads to life. Whichever you follow, if you follow death, it will lead you to death. So you cannot follow this habit and expect that you end up. There is nothing spiritual about that. So this, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that these words is for someone, and sometimes it could be tough. It might not be the way you wanted it to come, but I know for sure that God is trying to yank you out of an habit that you have been dealing with, and it's not a prayer or anything. It's your decision, like the prodigal son. Prodigal son said, "Man, look, why am I living like this in trash?" I would arise. He came to a place. He came to his senses that, wait, look, these habits are not me. I'm much better than this. So even in this moment, I believe that God is also saying that this is not you. You are better than this. The love of God expects more from you than this. So if you're listening to us right now, please don't worry about what you've done. Let bygones be bygones. That relationship may be so toxic. It's a bad habit too. You can come out of it because there is a better love. So, hey, we came for you this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are. This is why we did this. So come out of that and receive grace to live above any habit. There is one habit that Jesus broke. It is the curse.
Yes.
So you have the grace to live above it.
Amen.
God bless you. I want to hear your testimony.
Apostle, yes. Apostle has brought us up. I don't need to say anything else. Guys, it's been a pleasure having you all here. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back again next time. God bless you. Bye. Hi, guys. This is Kelechi, host of Faith and Purpose Podcast, and I want to share with you the creative behind this amazing video, Spirit and Truth Media. Please reach out to him for more information about your creative needs. And again, big thank you to our special guests, Jumbo and Kelechi.
By the way, he made this shirt.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Peace in Jesus.
Yes, sir.
Make my shirt now. Make my shirt.
Yeah.